Today, as I can see, there is less people as usual. I think the reason was because we had a really long task today for some of you. First, we will do the presentation and then we will go through the task. I will include Primož as a winner inside, Marc, we will do the task debrief together. And I know that Stan did some good moves today. Does anybody else would like to be included in? Anyone did some other line that you want to show? Okay, so these three guys, maybe some more we will include for the task debrief. And now I will ask Marc Wensauer to come here. He is at the moment in world ranking top 10, huh? Yeah. This is news for you, huh? Yeah, I checked before the comp, you were in top 10. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Marc is also organizing the comps together with the German association. So he is more inside also about the data, about the scoring system, and this is actually his presentation for today. He will speak about this. Okay, you can start.
All right. Hello, everybody. I want to make you a little bit more familiar with our scoring system and how the points are calculated. For me, actually, in the beginning, this was a book, in German I would say, ein Buch mit 7 Siegeln, like a really strange language. I could never understand why I got the points I got, probably like you guys. So I started learning a little bit about it, actually reading on the webpage of the International Association of the CIVL, it's called. And then I started seeing an opportunity to earn money actually with it, because you can work as a downloader like we have here. What's his name again?
Christian.
Yeah. Again? Christian?
Yeah.
So Christian probably gets some money for that, and sometimes I do that. That's why I know a little bit about the scoring. All right. First of all, before I go into details, you need to know that there are 3 different types of tasks we can have in the types of competition we're doing. Now you know the first type, it's called race. The one we had yesterday and we had today. Race means everybody takes off, on takeoff, has time to go up, will wait behind a line on the GPS and start. Everybody together is allowed to cross the start of speed section at the same time. And whenever you cross it, your time is already running. You know that. It's like a race. So it's always bad if you're way behind on the line, because your time is already running. And sometimes the task committee may decide to do a clock-started race. Clock-started, usually the task committee decides to do that if the conditions are not good enough to do a race, or if it's simply too crowded in the area to have all the pilots at the same spot all the time, like if the gaggles are getting too big. So they might decide to do a clock-started race. Clock-started means it's actually a race with several start gates. So you are allowed to enter the speed section at several times. For example, first time is 1 o'clock, second time 1:15, third time 1:30. And you may choose which one to take. From a tactical point of view, it's most of the time the best to take the second gate. The first gate is the ones who show everybody where it's working and where it's not working. And the second gate will profit of that because they have the information, while the third gate already has the problem that they lose too many leading points. I will explain later more about leading points, but you get leading points all the time. And if you are that far behind, if you're half an hour behind, you may have the same timing goal, but because you get much less leading points, you will not win the day. So second gate is most of the time the winning gate. And then third possibility, elapsed time. True elapsed time means everybody gets an individual time. Time starts for you individually when you cross the start of speed section. you can set your own start time then, if the task committee decides to do that. And you have the possibility to get yourself another time. Like if you start the speed section, go 5 kilometers and you realize, fuck, I fucked up, I'm low. So you can go back and actually get another time. That's possible with elapsed time. All right, the task, like elapsed time is always a very tricky thing because the pilots will tend to always wait and have a tactical game with each other because usually you are in an advantage if you're just a few seconds behind another one. Just if you have someone in front of you, because usually you will always catch him. He will show you a thermal and you will catch up with him. So he has no advantage, but you will get a better time, even if it's a few seconds. So if you cross the end of speed section at the same time, you will win. That's why elapsed time pilots tend to wait till the end of the day. We've had that already. Like we in World Cup, we experienced that with elapsed time, it might be that people wait so long that they cannot finish the task. It happened. All right. By the way, whenever you got questions, just shoot. Okay. Now, concerning the scoring itself. We have a software for that. It's called FS, the FS scoring formula. Actually, the FS scoring program. It's published by CIVL, the International Paragliding Association, Paragliding and Hang Gliding Association. And the scorer should always use the latest formula, and the formula is always a so-called gap formula. So this year we use the 2015 R1 gap formula. I suppose we're using it here as well. And there's always an update every half of a year because there's always some bugs in it. But right now it's running quite properly. And for this software to work, the task setters need to agree on some factors before starting the competition. And these settings should actually be published on the task board. We have not done this, but I'm telling you now. So if you're in a competition, sometimes it's good to ask for it, because I've been at some competitions where they mix with these settings, where they play around with them. Because actually it's not allowed to change these settings during a competition. You have to publish them on the first day, and then they have to stay the same. But there have been competitions where they used to change them. All right, what are these settings and what are they here? Actually, you can see them over here. It's the statistics of the first task. Now from better. So let's start. First of all, we have the minimum distance. Minimum distance, we set it here to 5 kilometers. What is the minimum distance? Minimum distance is the distance up to which you will always get, as soon as you take off, you will get a certain amount of points. Even if you just fly 100 meters and end up in a tree, or if you fly 4.9 kilometers, you will always get the same amount of points. The idea behind this minimum distance is that if you bomb out just after start, after takeoff, oh yeah, even better. Now I can play Star Wars.
The upper bar.
This one?
No, the upper bar.
That's our line.
Wait. I know it is. Yeah.
All right. So minimum distance, check what it is. If you bomb out after takeoff, it's usually no use trying to get to the next field and even to the next field and go lower over a power line, because you will only get this minimum distance points anyway. This is supposed to prevent pilots from risking their lives for a few meters at the beginning of the race. Then we have nominal distance. I will explain that later, because first I want to explain nominal launch. It's a launch validity called. It's simply a factor. We set it here to 96%, meaning if 96% of the pilots that are present at the competition launch this day will not be devaluated. Meaning, if the pilots and takeoff experience strong winds, very strong winds, maybe even see a thunderstorm approaching, and they feel like the task setters are stupid, why do they start the race? If half of the people decide we will not go, then this factor kicks in and the whole day will get a maximum of 500 points. So information for you, maximum possible amount of points is 1000 points. If half of the people don't even take off, the maximum amount possible is 500. This is to, it's like an internal checks and balances. If the pilots think the task is not good and they don't launch, it will not get enough points, or many points. Yeah?
Is it half or is it less than 96%? If
About half of 96%. So this 96 means here, if let's say from 100 people, 4 do not launch, it's still valued as a full, as 1000 point task. Because 4 pilots can always have some trouble.
What
they
about
may
if
feel
it's-
sick on takeoff.
If it's 5, so if it's 95% launch,
If it's
is
90,
it devalued then?
if let's say if we have set it to 96% and only 95 launch, it will be devalued by a little bit, very little bit. Just you will hardly feel it in the score. So then we have nominal goal and nominal distance. Nominal distance is the distance that the task setters accept that will be possible on an average day in a competition, and if at least the proportion of a nominal goal, this 25% here, reaches this nominal distance, 40 kilometers, then this day may get 1000 points. So these two numbers always are combined. If nominal goal 25% reach nominal distance in a task, it may score 1000 points. You see that even if the task is 80 kilometers, it wouldn't matter. At least it must be at least 40 kilometers to score 1000. So if the task setter decide to set a task with only 30 kilometers, if we do that here, because we have a very weak day and we want to make a really short race, we already know at the when we set the task, it will not score 1000 points. What else is there? Then nominal time. Nominal time is quite easy. We set it here to 1.5 hours. So we expect that this is a task should score 1000 points if the leader takes at least 1.5 hours to finish the task. If he is faster, if the leader makes the task in 1 hour, the score will be devaluated. All right. So far, any questions about the settings here? So it's once again minimum distance, nominal distance, nominal time, launch validity, and what did I forget?
Nominal goal.
Nominal goal, exactly. All right. As I said before, these values should be published actually on the task board on the first day. I can assure you we haven't changed them from yesterday to today. Have we? Okay. Now about the calculation of a day. So as I told you before, the maximum available points is 1000. In order to that a task can get 1000 points, the winner can get 1000 points, the so-called day quality has to be 1. If it's 1, task will be 1000 points value. In order for this day quality to be 1, 3 factors have to be 1. And these factors are score down a little bit?
Yeah.
Scroll down.
No, that's it. We
Is
cannot
it
go
high?
lower.
Then it's up, and it's a little bit up. Yeah, there it is. Stop. So here we have the day quality. First task is 1. That's why we have 1,000 points. In order to this to be 1, the 3 factors have to be 1, which are time validity, launch validity, and distance validity. So day quality is actually calculated launch validity times distance validity times time validity. All right. So let's go through these 3 things. Time validity, very easy. If the winner of the task takes more than the nominal time, time validity is 1. Nominal time here is 1.5 hours. If the winner takes 1.5 and 1:31, it's 1. If he takes 1 hour 29, task will be devalued. Launch validity, very easy as well. If at least, in our case, 96% of the field launches, it's 1. If it's only 50%, it's 0.5. And distance validity, as soon as goal proportion passes the nominal distance, it's 1. So all these was given for the first task. That's why all factors are 1, and the combination of which is day quality, it's 1,000 points. All right. Still, what might be much more interesting is the distribution of points. Can you just scroll up to the first pilots? A little bit lower. Yes, okay, thank you. So, first day was a race. Everyone has the same start speed section, but of course different times for the end of speed section, and therefore different times. The winner had 1 hour 31, that's why the time validity was 1. The points that you actually get are 3 different types of points. First of all, you get the distance points. Distance points calculated on as I'll start again. Calculated on your flown distance. If you reach goal, you get the maximum amount of distance points. Then time points. The faster, the more time points. And leading points. In a race, we get leading points. Leading points are calculated continuously over the race, and you can say that those people in the first gaggle, they score more leading points than the ones in the second gaggle. But it's not, you will not get more leading points, or hardly any more leading points, if you lead a gaggle. Even if you lead a gaggle for the whole time, you hardly get any more leading points than the other ones in the same gaggle, because the distance is too small. Leading points really take effect when it's different gaggles. So always think about how much you can get. The maximum amount of leading points, I will tell you later about this, is 111. So yesterday we were close to the maximum. And even if you lead out all the time, in the first gaggle, always a little bit in front, you will maybe get 5 more leading points than the other one, but you all take a much higher risk. So it's always a matter of a trade-off of risk and reward, and you have to say, like, for these 5 leading points, risking bombing out because you're always in front is never worth it. We have a famous pilot in World Cup, Wensauer. He most of the time has the most leading points, but he always bombs out. No, every second time, I would say.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works, exactly, yeah. So Hausi Bollinger, who has the same style of flying, he once told me, with this style of flying, you have to be a good loser. All right, so leading points is it's not something you should have in mind when you set your style of flying, because they are hardly rewarding. They reward whole gaggles, but if they lead out a gaggle, but they do not reward lone pilots who just lead out a little bit, a few meters in front of the gaggle. And they are not distributed equally over the whole task. Actually, it's a task is divided in 3/3, and you get the most leading points at the beginning of a task. You get the least in the second third, and you get the middle amount of leading points in the final third. All right.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The leading points are not.
Beginning, you get the most leading points.
Exactly. Yeah. It's more rewarding to lead out in the beginning than to lead out in the end concerning leading points. Okay. Concerning the distribution of distance, time, and leading points, because here you see that actually you get more time points than distance points. This is because a lot of pilots reach goal. In tasks where hardly any pilots or no pilot reaches goal, you get no or hardly any time points. I want to show you this on a graph. Can everybody see down this? If I paint down there, hopefully. All right, so I start with the distance points. Down here, you have the goal ratio. The goal ratio is a proportion of the pilots launched who have made goal. So if all pilots reach goal, goal ratio is 1. Quite easy. So if we, let's assume we have a task where nobody reaches goal. Then the maximum amount of distance points is 915. The more people reach goal, this drops down. It looks close to this curve. Time points, actually, they start at 0, because if nobody reaches goal, nobody gets time points. Quite easy. So time points, they climb up. The more pilots reach goal, the more time points. And there's a certain point where they even are more than distance points. It's always when a lot of pilots reach goal, it's more important to be fast. The less pilot, if only a few pilots reach goal, time is not that important. So we have distance here and time here. And we also have the leading points. You will always get a small amount of leading points even if nobody reaches goal, but the more people reach goal, it goes up like this, and the maximum amount is 111 leading points. That's the maximum possible amount. So on days when nobody reaches goal or hardly anybody reaches goal, your tactics must change. If you compare it to a day when a lot of pilots reach goal. Because on this kind of days, it's more important to get as far as possible, even if it takes you 1 hour longer than the guys in front of you. Because these days hardly get any leading points, and even if pilots reach goal, the time points will be very low. Distance points is more important. If a lot of pilots reach goal, it's very important to be fast. All right. I want to, for the end, I want to talk a little bit about leading points again. I talked a little bit about the tactics, so actually don't count on them. If it's an elapsed time speed run, can you just show the other task? This is just a generic task I took, which was an elapsed time. This task was obviously devalued for several reasons. It was probably too short. That's why the winner only got 260 points. But take a look, you don't get leading points in elapsed time. You get so-called departure points. Departure points are calculated differently to leading points. You get departure points in elapsed time as soon as you enter the start of speed section. So early, sometimes people call them early bird points. People who enter the speed section first get more departure points. They are only calculated at the point of entering the speed section, not during the whole race like it's done with leading points. But there's a big problem with them. As you can see, you can only get departure points if you reach goal. See that? So on an elapsed time, you have to take in mind, or be aware that most of the time, if the task committee sets an elapsed time, it's a shitty day anyway. It will be very difficult to reach goal. So you should never ever count on these departure points when going into an elapsed time, because it will be very likely that you will not reach goal, that it's maybe nobody reaches goal. So don't count on departure points. Even count less on departure points than you count on leading points. Actually, that finishes it from my side. Are there any questions from you? Yeah?
Mark, can you talk about it, the situation where pilots are obsessed about taking the start cylinder right at the moment? Like they are, even if they're low, they're gliding to take the start cylinder, right in the first second.
If that is advisable or not?
Yeah, but is it valid tactics or?
Let's say, I would say it's much more important to be high in the start gaggle, even if it means that you're maybe 30 seconds late. Because just in the beginning of the race, if you still, maybe you might not be aware of all the way the day works, it might be advisable to have some people in front who will show you how the day develops. So I would say it's not that important to have a super good start. It's important to have a high start. But I would never say it's good to be at the line at the right time. I mean, take myself. Today I fucked it up because I was probably too early there, or one of my instruments cheated me of being too early, and I had to turn around, so I lost a lot of positions there. So if I had just stayed a little bit behind, a few seconds, and crossed it a little bit later, I would have been safe and no problem.
And is there anything in the formula that awards lead points for like who crosses starts in the first, second?
No, only in elapsed time. Then you have these departure points. You in normal races you get the leading points, which are sure, as I said, you get more at the beginning of the race, but not in, it doesn't matter if what you do in the first 2 minutes. It's like we're talking about 1.5 hour race, so it's the first half an hour that is getting more points than the rest of the race. Any more questions? Anything to add? All right. I think Kasper?
Yeah.
Marc, thank you for the presentation. You went really deep into it. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Now we will try to go also deep into the task for today. Primož will set the presentation. We will use again the SerialCUP program. For the animation I included, like I said, Primož, Marc, and I added also Lara. She made goal today. I included Rok Lotric, young Slovenian pilot, he made goal as well. Jan Jareš from Czech Republic, you did well also today. And Sten, who was the guy with the most leading points for today. He was actually the reason why the winner didn't get the 1000 point today, huh?
Yeah, that's probably the only thing I left out. Exactly. Today's task seems like it's not a 1000 day task. The winner today is, can I say who it is?
Yeah.
Stefan Viparina. So, congratulations. Where is he? Okay. Well, Stefan got not 1000 points today, although the day quality was 1. The reason was that Stan took away all the leading points. No, Stan has the most leading points, but Stefan had the most time points. So that's why it's not 1,000 points for Stefan. Okay.
Okay, this is the beginning of the race. Today you can see also the names, so it will be easier to recognize all the pilots. Primož started, as always, the first one or second one, and then the other follows him. Primož, I know that you didn't get the thermal immediately. Were you afraid a little bit to get that you will maybe just bomb out or not?
Yesterday more.
Yesterday more, it was the same?
Yeah, it was worse yesterday.
Okay, yeah, but it's funny to see, sometimes it's not working, but some of the best guys, they just go and try to do best of it. And I always see some guys who see, they see that the day is not working so well and they are just waiting on the takeoff. And actually, one thing what I realized is that when it's difficult to get the altitude before the starting cylinder, you need to go to the air before, you don't need to wait. Usually everybody is going up. This is still before the race, and now the race will start. How you did it, Marc, before the starting cylinder?
I was a little bit impatient, or actually it was Primož. Can you stop, Primož? Yeah. Primož actually was we were the highest in the gaggle, and Primož started to go. The speed needed for making the start cylinder in time, I think it was, my instrument showed something with 36, but we glided faster for whatever reason. So actually we were a little bit early, and I misread my instrument and obviously crossed the line too early, or it said I was okay. But 500 meters later, I had to turn around. I think I was not the only one. There was Peter with me, and we had the opportunity to see all the gaggle coming in our way.
Okay, so here at the beginning it seems Primož did the best. Also, if we check the altitude, it seems Primož is on the lead. Then Sten decided for completely other way. Primož, can you stop it out? Let's go to another angle, yeah. As you can see, after the turn point, Primož did the same route as yesterday. He went back on the ridge, but Sten decided, with the same altitude as everybody else, decided to go just straight to the next turn point. And let's check it out what happened. Which route was better here? Sten got really nice climb in the flatland, and also maybe you can stop it now, Primož, again. It's funny to see that all the others following this route. This is Lara. Why did you decide for this? Because you saw other pilots, or it was easier to fly flatland than on the ridge? Okay.
I think at that moment was a little bit that the ridge just didn't work as well as before. It seemed to me the reason was that the flatland started to work and they drew away some air. That's my explanation. Maybe the locals can say something else, but it seemed to me that at that time the ridge, some people were really dropping down on the ridge, and because the flatland started to work.
And Sten, you flew directly to the second turn point, to 1205, just on the flat. So here Sten is already flying towards Sajdoščina, and all the others are still fighting with the turn points here. So it was brave, but brave decision to go just straight, but it worked out really well. So he was at least 5 or 10 minutes in front of everybody else. Here it was easy. They were just flying on the ridge. Did you face any troubles, Marc, on this part of the race?
No, not at all. This time the ridge worked. It was just it paused just a little bit earlier. Now the ridge worked, and actually I did not climb at all, as you can see, because okay, one turn, but I think that was the only turn. and then I just went because I wanted to catch the others, so I risked.
Yeah, you can see that line from Marc is really low, way lower than the line from the others. Stan made the turn point already in Aidoshina and he's returning back. You went here. You went back to the ridge.
Yeah.
For the first time, like everybody else, or maybe somebody did straight.
No, pretty much everyone went back.
Pretty much everyone went back. This is for the first time. Okay. How was there, Marc?
At that point, can you just stop? Pretty much. To me, it seemed like that the optimum route was a little bit outside of the ridge. I felt that the air was much better there because just on top of the ridge, the wind was just blowing you backwards and the lifts were not as good anymore. The best lifts came just from the bottom of the hill. So I tried to use the lines, and there were some sail planes showing me good lines, and I was able to catch up a little bit with the group Primož this way.
Now the pilots, the first pilots are flying back to this flatland turn point, and what happened here? I don't know. Stan, you went straight, or what?
Got greedy. I just got greedy.
Greedy, huh? Here,
No, because I know that everyone's
you felt the victory, huh? Here.
They've got faster full bar, so it was
So you
risky
started
because
to
they were
do.
going to catch me anyway.
So actually, you did this move because you didn't trust to your glider, or
No, I know that they're faster.
that they are faster, so you try to do something else.
Yeah, but still I think Stan had actually the right idea because actually before we went out, a thought crossed my mind like, damn it, I should have climbed more because it was the possibility to do these two turn points out in the flats in one move, like Stan did. And I think I could have climbed more, but I was greedy as well. I tried to catch Primož, and in hindsight, maybe it would have been an option to stay there, climb more, because actually this detour back to the ridge and out again to the airport was quite big, and if you could make both in one move, like Stan, but maybe a little bit higher, it would probably have been the optimum. But I think nobody did it, huh? Did anyone do it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was at the goal line, not the first group, but then later on I saw many pilots went just straight. They got more altitude here in the coke area, and then they went just all the turn points on the flatland. But I don't know which way was faster, because if you have good thermal, maybe it was a good idea, but if not, maybe this one on the ridge was faster. One question for Stan, did you make the turn point here or not, when you were really low?
I had to reclimb and then take it.
Yeah, okay, because I was looking to you and I said, oh, if he did the turn point, that he's in a really good position. If not, then somebody will pass him for sure, like it happened then.
Yeah, they all passed.
Yeah, Stan is still climbing, and all the others did the turn point. They went back to the ridge, and this was now the start of final glide. Here it was quite smooth and easy to fly, so mostly everybody was flying on full speed. Huh?
Exactly. Yeah, full speed. All the time.
Full speed all the time. So here it was not so, there was no big difference between the guys. They are flying just straight to the goal. So Primož was first in the goal, Marc finished on third position, I think, and then all the others came. Jan did well today, like I told you, and also all those guys who are here on the presentation made the goal sooner or later. So, like you said, Marc, on the landing field, you made some mistake at the beginning, and it was not possible to get it back, huh?
Yeah, Exactly. Like, first of all, know your instrument. So today it got me. I think Urban had even bigger trouble with his instrument today. So this is avoidable. Like, even for myself, I thought like it was really not necessary to be at the radios that very close to the radios at the start. So I should have been more patient. And later on, it was really difficult in this kind of conditions to catch up, because we fly full speed on the ridge anyway, and there was hardly a big decision to make. The decisions were made in the beginning, going into the flats or not. And later on, I had hardly any chance to really catch up. I might have had a chance, like I explained earlier, but I didn't climb enough, so that option got zeroed out.
But anyway, you were behind, and it was not so easy to see the guys in front, and it's quite a difficult mental thing that you not just do some stupid moves. For example, today it was a great day to do some moves just from the turn point, just to go straight, but you didn't. You just followed the route like you should. It was difficult in the head sometimes.
Oh, I've done this mistake lots of time, but you have to learn that it's simply a simple calculation of risk and reward. Like today I lost maybe 40 points to Primož with a mistake. Okay, I can live with that, but if I bomb out, I lose 500 points. That will be the end of the competition. So you always have to have that in mind, that it's never worth bombing out. Just take the gap. Take these few minutes, and the next day your chance will come. But if you bomb out, it's over.
Okay, thank you. This is all what we had for today. Do you have any questions regarding the task for today? Or maybe some questions regarding task for tomorrow, maybe? I must admit that we also have lots of questions what we can do for tomorrow. We will see in the morning. The weather prediction shows us some chances for the race, and we will see in the morning.